Well, Kelly's Court is back in session. On the docket today, a police takedown forever changing the life of an innocent man. Watch this surveillance video from outside a Seattle movie theater. A man runs into the frame after a several-block chase with police. Seconds later, a sheriff's deputy sacks the man into the base of a tile wall. Now, this man had been shopping at a convenience store. A robbery apparently occurred at that convenience store. Witnesses told police this man was one of the robbers. He ran. We don't know why, because it turns out he was not one of the robbers. Officers chased him, and it ended with that body check. The deputy following procedure, according to authorities. It sounds like he has no case, even though the family's now suing for $25 million. Until you see this. Take a look at 29-year-old Christopher Harris today. This is the guy who got shoved by the cops. He is in a coma, has suffered permanent brain damage, and it is irreversible, his condition. It turns out he wasn't even involved in the fight or the assault at that convenience store or the robbery, and now there's a big lawsuit against the sheriff's department. So, do they have a case? Let's ask our panel. Defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh and Fox News legal analyst Arthur Aidala. Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
It is stunning tape to watch. You see the body slam, and I mean, I got to tell you, Mark, I heard that this guy ran from the cops, and that they chased him for several blocks, and he didn't listen, and that it ended in a body slam, and I thought, that's what happens when you run from the police. And then I saw the next picture of him, and I thought, that changes things. Is that the right analysis? Do we even consider the injuries in deciding whether the cops did the right thing?
No, I think you're off on the analysis. I think the problem is when you take a look at what the officer did. I am not a police officer, and yes, they face difficult challenges every day on the street, but I don't know any police academy in the country that teaches police officer to take down suspects utilizing a technique that's reserved for NFL linebackers. My 7-year-old knows that when you slam 270 pounds into 180 pounds next to a solid wall, that it's reasonably foreseeable that an injury could result. And then worse, Megan, let me just say this. I didn't need to see the photo of the person lying in the bed to watch the officer flip the person over after he sustained injury, after he poses no threat to the officer,
but the cop
to
didn't
probably
know that.
further exasperate his problem.
Didn't know that. The cop, after the guy goes down, the cop does turn him over. He's trying to complete the arrest. It happens right here. At this point, Mark, he didn't know that the guy was a quadriplegic. We don't know whether he was a quadriplegic at this point, but the cop realized thereafter and called the medics. Arthur, you know, I have to say, you look at this, we have it spot shadowed. The cops say number one, they see in this video, and watch the spot shadow, moments before he gets hit, he throws something away. Watch it, watch it, watch it.
Right.
Well, this is, all right, you can't really see it there. In any event, moments before he gets taken down, he throws something away. We don't know what it was because the cops didn't see it until the video played later. And they say, look, he ran. The man ran. What were we supposed to do?
If we could just go rewind just a little bit, I don't mean on the video, of what happened. There was a bloody fight going on. A store was involved where stuff was taken from the store. Bottles were used. It was a melee, basically, in a shopping mall. The cops, these particular officers, were following everything on the radio, the 911 radio. And when they get there, a woman says, I know who did it, I'll take you. Now, they're following the woman. She identifies the young man who's in a horrible state. And the cops pursue him, as you correctly said. He didn't stop and said, hey, put his hands up, I didn't do anything. He runs, they run, and then, Mark, here's where I disagree with you. You and I have been on this show watching police conduct that is thousands of times more egregious than a push. We've seen nightsticks. We've seen those big mag lights being used as weapons. This is one push.
Doesn't make it any less negligent.
This is one. That's not negligence, Mark. He pushed a guy, a fleeing felon, who had every right to think that he pushed. Yeah, he pushed him.
Arthur,
he didn't hit him with his nightstick. He didn't hit him with his gun.
You're a very good lawyer.
You're
a very good lawyer to look at the camera in a straight face.
About it, because it's 1:15 in the morning. The cops believe, with good reason, it's a good faith belief, that this man has been involved in a robbery that left 3 people bloody inside of a convenience store. They tell him, stop, police, he runs. Stop, police, he runs. Several blocks, they chase him. They have every reason to believe this guy has been committing a felony. What's so excessive about shoving him to end the foot chase?
Well, again, calling it a shove or a push is not what I'm calling it, and let your viewers decide. This guy ran into him like a linebacker, and that is not what he's been trained to do. Why? Because stuff like this happens. I'm not disagreeing with you. The guy should have stopped, and there is some witnesses who are suggesting one thing, and he's suggesting apparently, or what I've heard is, he didn't know that the police were after him. He kept running. He was, but again, the cops saw him running. So I understand that part. But why? Let's focus in on the technique
it's a push.
that they
You're being a lawyer right now.
him.
You're filibustering. It's one push. That's all he did. He didn't pull out his gun.
No, that's not a push.
He didn't pistol whip him. He didn't take out his nightstick and hit him in the knees and bring him to the ground. He pushed him one time. It's not the fleeing felon's fault that the cop happens to weigh 270 pounds and be in great shape. That's all he did. He didn't. And then when he was down, he wasn't kicking him. He put handcuffs on him. Yes, you look at this picture and it's horrible. The deputy regrets it. The mayor of the town regrets it. Everybody regrets it. It's very unfortunate, but it's an accident. That's what it is, an accident.
I never thought I'd see an action that makes me say, gosh, I wish they used a taser on him instead. And you know what? In retrospect, that would have been a stronger choice than what they did here.
Hindsight's 2020. I'll say this. The lawyer representing the victim, who's in the hospital, says the guy was slowing down, and he claims he was putting his hands up. I don't know if we can show the video one more time. He claims the guy was putting his hands up before he got
pose a threat, Megan.
After he ran 2 blocks.
And he says that's evidence of excessiveness. Watch it. Watch it. Is he putting his hands up or not? Tell me.
He had 2 blocks to put up his hands, though, Megan.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
Hold on one second.
Final word. Go ahead, Mark, and then Arthur, and then I gotta go.
Final word, Arthur. He can't walk. He can't talk. He can't perform functions. He doesn't recognize his family. Do you think they could have used some other procedure?
Final word, Megan, is there are no criminal charges. It was heavily investigated, so the cop didn't do anything criminally wrong. Will he get a settlement from the government? He will. His medical costs are enormous. He will wind up getting a check to pay for all of those medical costs.
All right, Mark and Arthur, thank you so much. Good debate, gentlemen. One final word for our viewers. In the law, in a trial, normally, first you determine whether there's liability. Only if the answer is yes do you normally get to the injuries and the damages. If a jury goes that route, this plaintiff will likely lose. But if they see the condition this man is in the course of this trial, when they're deciding liability, the city's going to pay, and it's going to pay big. A settlement seems in order here, even though there are no villains in this case.
Which is why the defense will try to bifurcate the trial precisely as you described.
Exactly. Get to the damages second.